to the tarot section now. This is the extended reading for why has he changed so much by a letter from Deirdre. And this goes for anybody who might have found themselves in a partnership and where it all started really quite well, and suddenly you start noticing that there's a massive change in the person's behavior. Okay, now do look at the Ask Rafah number 15 if you actually want to look at the whole advice that I've given. I've opened a few cards already on the tarot there, so I've already done an opening, but we're now going to have a look at the extended version here. I've pre-shuffled the cards and I've laid them down, and right now you'll see a picture here on the screen where basically as the cards are laid out. Okay, so they're closed off. But just to recap, all right, we got these cards that basically inform me that were hidden, which was her partner's behavior. Okay, now what Deirdre got, okay, was she was actually coming from a place, which is where it started from a place of enjoyment. This is what she experienced, this is what she recalls the relationship to be, and she's holding on to the relationship right now despite the fact that she's feeling anxious about the way his behavior is, because she's holding on to the idea of her enjoyment and how it all started off. Now everything changed once she was separated by him from the lockdown. Okay, but as I already explained in the advice, that this kind of characteristic is quite typical and quite common from a man who actually has a big sense of insecurity and a sense of emotional loss that he would possibly experience before. And here is a card that actually signifies that, which actually came out in the row of his cards. Now also what we have, there's a sense of deception, which we've already seen from the letter, that he actually has lied to her quite a few times, and so he's got the tendency to lie. And this could also indicate that he could be also playing around, or certainly showing one side of, you know, there's a deception. If you look at this card, which I really love, okay, this is actually from the Chuck Spezzano called the Love Pack deck, okay, which looks like this, and then there are different illustrations, and they often point out some kind of the psychological issues or the characteristics of personality issues that come up in relationships, what's hidden, how you can heal it, and what also the grace cards and love cards. But I'll read it as kind of the impressions I'm getting. Now looking at this card, basically it feels like in some way he has wooed Deirdre, and with his best behavior, with a bunch of flowers here. But if you actually look, he's got like a chain and a lock. Oh, can you see that? All right, a chain and a lock, basically, which is classic of the symptoms he's shown, because now, you know, since they've started living together, he's got her to quit her job, the one she loves. She's heard him lie. She's found out he's lied about his age. So this is a deception, you know, from, you know, a real charming personality, which is what I said earlier in the reading, in the advice. And then now he's changed his true colors. What you need to do, or whoever, this is for Deirdre, of course, but whoever else is watching, you need to go back to your own beauty and your inner beauty and start valuing yourself. You need to really think about what qualities you've got, and cultivate on those again. Okay, because sometimes what's going to happen is you're going to end up getting a distorted sense of self-image of yourself. Okay, because he's going to be able to manage to play with your mind, and make you start feeling very insecure, which would be a very destructive situation to find yourself in. All right, and sometimes when women go down this path, you're actually the person who's self-abused yourself, because you've ignored all the red flags. Now if you want to hear about the red flags, you can go back to the Ask Rafah video for that, because that's where I point the red flags out clearly from the letter that Deirdre has written in. Okay, you got the second card that Deirdre got for herself was this beauty. So this is what I'm saying. You need to recognize who you are, get yourself grounded, get yourself back into your true passion, your value, and then write out all the skill sets, sort of personal beauty, personal positives, and remember what they are. Okay, because this person is going to do a very good job of manipulating you, and when people start manipulating you, you start losing your sense of self. Now we've got a card of manipulation here as well. Okay, we also got the card of jealousy. This card I don't think is so much, well, I think he may even start showing traits of jealousy, but I have a feeling what this card is telling me is that he has my eyes are going towards the guy. Let me see, it's not really doing it. Oh, there. Okay, I don't know if you can see, but there's these daggers going towards in her mind. Okay, so my sense is that he's going to start putting thoughts into her mind to start making her jealous. Okay, because also what was said in the letter was she'd overheard him speaking to his ex-girlfriend and actually denying the fact he's actually seeing anybody. So, you know, and then if you we pull up somebody like that saying, oh, I didn't say that, or you're thinking too many things, and they start messing you about with your head. You know, my recommendation was for her to definitely get out of that relationship, but we'll see. Also, what Deirdre got, which is a really wonderful card, and this is her having to cultivate on her self-love. There's a heart there, and it's growth, and she needs to nurture herself back to strength, back to herself, back to her solid sense of self before she met this guy, okay, and got involved. It happens, it's meant to happen, because you're meant to learn your worth. Okay, so this man is teaching you that you need to go back to self-value and start valuing who you are and start cultivating on your love, so you can take your sense of self onto the next level of self-love. All right, well, okay, so the next card that you got, interestingly, is you have this. You see, by doing this, you're going to be able to get this. All right, there's a self-love, sorry, not self-love, a falling in love card. I think this is you also, two things here for me, that you're going to need to fall back in love with yourself, all right? Especially if somebody's going to take you down the manipulation path and start deceiving you and playing out, okay? Because I don't know if I actually mentioned this, but the first card of his card was actually withdrawal, which was very much about somebody who manipulates. If you look at the figures there as well on the hill, they're all trying to convince him to come back up and come and play, you know, come and do this, and this is what he wants. He's withdrawn, you know, and you're going to start saying, well, why are you doing that? Oh, come on, you know, and all this. And what you're going to find out is that he's manipulating your behavior, and little by little, you're going to start losing your sense of self and your sense of center. Okay, well, this is another thing. I can read this 2-3 ways actually. It could be a great possibility, right? The first thing that pops into mind, you can actually end up falling in love quite quickly with somebody else, but this also could indicate about you needing to fall in love with yourself. All right? And then we've got here the falling in love, which is what, like I said, you know, you have a potential to meet a new partner and really have, you know, or it could be also you falling in love with your inner self and needing to do that, so you can really bring some super strong self-love dynamic into your being. Okay, this ends, your column is amazing, which actually ends in delight. All right, so I feel also with this picture, you need to be, when you're accepted totally for yourself, all right, which is clearly you haven't done anything wrong, you can be actually engaging with much more a happier set of people, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up getting isolated in this relationship. Okay, when somebody is suffering from a sense of loss, they'll do anything to keep you out from actually meeting somebody else. Okay, when people don't have, when men don't have a sense of self, even women as well, but common, you know, they can actually start making you feel bad, start playing the jealousy card, and you end up being isolated because you daren't look at anybody else or daren't talk to anybody else, or if you talk to somebody else, you find yourself, you give an earful, and you are too afraid to actually you know, have to deal with it, because you don't want to deal with it, because you're after his love all the time, and then what's happening is you're losing your sense of self and sense of love for yourself. All right, so what I've done here is for the second layer, the middle layer here, I've got our clarifiers. Okay, so the first card is letting go. So wow, okay, so this is very much, you know, this is like the 8 of Cups. Your question to me in your letter was, I don't know what to do. I love him, but I don't know what to do. Okay, I feel like you need to let go of it, but a part of me feels that you're holding on to that enjoyment or the memory of it, so you're not able to let go of it, but it is advising you to let go. But what I like about this image as well is it's a kind of letting go that happens naturally. All right, so you will able to walk away or leave the situation in its own time. And I always interpret this card because of the fact, if you look at the raindrops, the drops on the leaf, it will just drop in its own time. You don't need to manipulate the time or anything like that. You'll probably get to a point in yourself that you think, you know what, you know, especially when you start remembering who you are, what you're worth, and all that, and actually cultivating on self-love. Okay, you can do this through working with the chakras. I've mentioned which chakras would really help to strengthen your core. And self-love also, while people often associate it with actually the heart, it's actually, for me, is very much to do with your solar plexus. True self-love comes from your power, your central core. all right, you know, because if you can have too much heart, you know, and too much love and too much giving, you know, you end up compromising yourself sometimes as well, so badly, right? So the real self-love, you've got to bring it down to your core, okay? And we've got all these little suns in each and every one of these images, which is also very much the solar plexus symbol of the sun. Okay, moving on. Well, look, okay, here, let me just have a look. Okay. Right, wow, okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, very interesting. Okay, so second card as well, this is it. I think you need to, whatever you do, if you're feeling left out, you might not want to actually leave the relationship just straight away, but I would start sharing your talents and your beautiful, go back to work, go back to work. I mean, this is a card, the Queen of Wands in traditionally, this is Osho Zen Tarot. This is a woman who shares her skills and talents. She's a wise woman, and this is really you need, and this is on top of your beauty, all right? And this is also on top, like this is him. So he's deceived you. He's like, oh, I'll take care of you, don't worry, you know, you just quit your job, you know. And what you do is you end up being in his power, because he's going to have the grip around you. He's going to have the padlock and the chains around you, because you will. You're not going to naturally feel less independent, less powerful, and you will find that you're going to crumble, all right? So this is really indicative of, you know, maybe just let go of the notion of whether you should leave the relationship or not. Get yourself back on the same equal footing and certain yourself. Personally, I would leave the relationship. He's already shown signs of no trust. But anyway, let's look at the cards here. So this is you, okay, this is you definitely having to show your talents off, go back and be skillful, yeah, and be proud of your skill sets and share your talents, all right? I think you're worried about what's going to happen, maybe where you're going to live, okay, because you have moved in with him after all, which means you've lost your base. And this card often indicates for me, if you look at the image, all right, it's the hanging trapeze, whatever they're called, you know, the swing trapeze. Is it a swing trapeze? But if you notice that there's a hand wanting to reach, let me get really close. There, okay. So, you know, you just have to be, you know, just be brave enough. This is a kind of brave, you know, you have to be brave to be able to do that kind of, you know, act, if you like. So you have to just grasp, go to the next thing and just allow yourself to be let go of and be caught. You know, trust life to catch you, all right? I personally feel, and look, what the following card there next to it is the Fool. So this is really telling me that you've got to let go. All right, just, you know, if you haven't got an exact hand to go to, call out for help if you need, go to a friend, you know, and move in with them if you must, right? But you just need to, and this is a Fool card here. This is about the card, a person who doesn't know which direction to go, or just taking a risk to leave, okay, without the security of knowing everything. And this is a wonderful card to follow. So personally, my thing is just definitely get out of there. Just go and reach out. To the first person that you would able to reach out to, your parents, your girlfriends, and I would leave or not go back. You know, and I think what's stopping you is a sense of fear that you're going to be alone, that you're actually not going to, this is sort of in the inverted, all right, this is kind of aloneness. This is actually the Hermit, so I can read it in two ways. You're afraid of being on your own, so this is how I'm going to read it, what I'm picking up. I think you're afraid that you are going to be on your own. And that's actually stopping you or stalling you. I don't think you will not go, and you're going to have to go. And I'll tell you why, because your outcome card is actually very, very positive. But in some way also, I could read this as, if you're feeling that you are afraid of going alone, you need to go inward. Okay, this is very much the card of healing and the card of seeking your inner guidance and knowing what to do and getting guided out of what's a dark situation back into the light. All right, so it's really clear. And I feel in some way that even if you don't know where you're going, or if you know, sometimes women stay in these negative relationships. I mean, as you say, you're 43 in your letter, so it's not an easy age to sort of pack up suddenly. All right, especially when you get fed some good times and some good loving. All right, but it sounds like it's not good enough, and he certainly is not to be trusted. So, you know, if being alone is what's stopping you, you need to get over it, okay, because you're not going to be on your own. You've got to get the adventure spirit back, know that you're worthy, because this is you putting the value in yourself knowing that you're worthy, and really cultivate on that, okay? Cultivate on the self-love, because this is where it needs to go, because I'm not kidding you, you're going to feel really great about yourself or great about another person and have much more of a joyous time. All right, but don't let, these are clarifiers, these Osho tarots. So what I'm indicating is that you are feeling of being on your own, but you know what? You're destined to change. It's a karmic, not karmic, but when you get a major arcana tarot, it's one of those, it's kind of like destined to happen. Okay, it has to happen. You know, it's out of your hands kind of happen. And you will definitely be moving out of this change cycle. It was in the inverted. It may mean that you might not want to do that change, but I think you're going to be forced to make that change. I think you might just find actually that you're going to be losing yourself if you're not careful, and you will find that in the right time you will know that you need to move out. But definitely the indication is there to leave and to go, as I already suggested and recommended in my advice to you. But this is what the tarot has to say. Okay, Deirdre and anybody else watching, so thanks for watching. This is for anybody who's in a relationship where you feel that somebody has changed and you're actually now struggling to understand whether you should stay or go, and you see certain signs of lies, deception, and certain kinds of manipulation. Okay, all warning signs. You know, nobody has to put up with that kind of partnering. You know, there's plenty of great people out there, and the more we work on ourselves individually, the more we will attract that, as well as the more also that you will be able to meet somebody on that level. So this is also about our inner work that needs to be done. You need to definitely start falling in love back with yourself, Deirdre, and anybody else. Claim your beauty in terms of your value, and in doing that you're also going to change and break the cycle. If you look at this, this is like a cyclical thing. It's a cycle. So, you know, a cycle of bad relationships, and go into something much more happy, delightful. Okay, and anybody else would like a personal reading, I do personal reading, of course, with coaching as well. So, you know, the tarot with coaching. So do, the details are below. Please like and subscribe. Do leave your comments if it spoke to you. And yeah, all the other details are in the description box. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time in the next segment of Ask Rafah. Bye for now. Bye.